So I am. So, last night, I want to share a little bit last night before I get started. Last night I had a dream that um, you guys are all watching a video and you all came in and goes, "Oh my God, Mr. Tang, we couldn't hear anything, we couldn't hear anything." It was a big mess. So I think this is like it's getting pretty bad where I'm dreaming about making videos. Anyways, today, this is not the lesson. Today we're going to learn about 5.2. Graphing, quadratics, and standard form. So yesterday we learned about vertex form, and we're going to learn about standard form and what's the really big difference. So hopefully you feel comfortable with vertex form, and then we can talk about standard form. But before we get started, let's do a little bit of review and talk about vertex form. Vertex forms, there are three components here. There's the A, H, and K. Remember, H is the crazy horse. It's called the horizontal shift. Basically, it tells you to go left or right on your parent function or your parabola. Remember, it's crazy, so it does the opposite. So if you see a -3 in there, it's a +3. You see a +3, it's a -3. Very good. K is known as the vertical shift, up and down. So where does it go up and down? How does that move up and down? A is known as the vertical stretch or shrink. So it makes the parabola skinnier or fatter. Very good. Let's talk about the steps in graphing. And let's look through them real fast. When you're graphing this, one, you need to do what first? Good. I heard someone say it. Find the vertex. First thing you need to do is find the vertex. Why? Because the vertex tells us where to start in our parabola. Our parabola goes like this, and our parabola goes like this, and the vertex kind of tells us where to start so we can start picking our numbers correctly. So we don't pick numbers out of nowhere and we get like a weird graph and it doesn't make the shape of a parabola. After you find, how do you find the vertex? How do you find the vertex? If you don't remember, the vertex is H, K. Then after you find the vertex, what do you do next? You need to make a t-table. Good. Make a t-table. Make a t-table. So because you're going to be plugging in numbers. Number 3, of course, there's faster ways to graph this, but we want to do this kind of like the long way so we get used to it. Now, maybe I'll show you another way later. Maybe. Then after that, you need to pick numbers. Pick the right numbers, right? Pick the numbers that actually start at the vertex. Pick 2 numbers on top of it, 2 numbers below it, or 2 numbers left and right, actually. Then, lastly, plug in and graph. Now we're going to talk about another way to do this, and it's called standard form. So most likely you're going to see 2 types of forms. There's vertex form, there's standard form. Vertex helps you find the vertex quickly. Standard form kind of looks a little bit nicer and neater and prettier, right? So, standard form. What are the steps to solving standard form? Take a look. First thing you need to do, same thing. Find the vertex. First thing you need to do is find the vertex. Very good. But finding the vertex is different from here and here. To find the vertex here, we only can find the horizontal shift, which is -b/2a. Make sure you write that down every time you use it. Next, you make a t-table. Then, you pick your numbers. And finally, you plug in and graph. So I want you to look at these steps compared to the other step. What did you notice that are different? Not a lot, right? They're actually really, really similar. So you don't have to memorize things to do. The idea is we want to plug in points to graph it. But which points do we plug in? The vertex helps us find out those points. So the idea is I need to plug in points. Find the vertex to tell me which points to plug in. I need to plug in points, find the vertex, first thing we need to do. But finding the vertex is different for both equations. This one is just H and K. You just look and pick them out. This one you actually have to figure it out, which is -b/2a. Very good. You ready to actually get started with the problem? Excellent. Let's do one problem real fast. I want you to graph this. We'll start easy. Y equals x squared plus 2x minus 1. Right away, you have to know what that looks like. What would that look like? This will look like a parabola. But how do you know? You could tell by the degree. The degree right here tells you what shape it's going to make. If that degree is 1, it makes a line. If that degree is 2, it makes a parabola. If that degree is 3, it makes it like a little squiggly snake kind of a thing, right? Another degree adds another curve. So remember that the degree, right away, you should know what shape it makes. So that degree is 2, it should make a parabola. Next, you have to go, well, is this going to probably going up or down? How can you tell? Before we talked about this A right here, this A right here is the same as this A right here. That tells us the vertical stretch and shrink. If that number is big, it'll make it skinnier. If that number is small, it'll make it fatter. If that number is negative, it will go downward. Good job. So let's take a look at our, if that number is positive, it will go upward. So let's take a look at that real fast. Take a look. What's our A right here? What's that number in front? You don't see anything, but what number is really there? The number really there is 1. So that's positive. This is going up. First of all, first thing I do, find my vertex so I can start plugging in points. Find my vertex. My vertex. Every time you use a formula, please write it down. So the more you write it down, the more you're going to remember it. H equals, man, H is ugly. H equals negative B over 2A. What's A? What's B? What's C? I'm not too sure. So I'm going to do this first. And you should do this always. You're going to find out. Let me move this over. You're going to find out what A, B, and C is. What's A? A in this case is 1. A is in front of x squared. What's B? B is 2. Is in front of the x. And what's C? C is negative 1, and that's usually alone. So now I have my formula. I just need to plug it in. Negative B. B is 2. That will be a negative 2 over 2 times A. A is 1. My vertex is negative 2 over 2. My vertex is at negative 1. But that only gives me 1 point. That only gives me the H of my vertex, which is negative 1. I don't have my K yet. So, what I do with this, remember the next step? The next step is to make a t-table. So let's make a t-table real fast. I have my x and y, and I start at the vertex, which is at negative 1. I pick numbers around there. So what numbers are around negative 1? It'll be 0, 1, negative 2, negative 3. I'm going to plug in a couple of them for you. First of all, I think you want me to plug in the negative. So I'm plugging the negative for you. Take a look. My equation is y equals x squared plus 2x minus 1. Y equals x. Let's do negative 3. Negative 3 squared plus 2 times negative 3 minus 1. Squared first. Remember, you squared negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. 2 times negative 3 is a minus 6, minus 1. 9 minus 6 is 3, minus 1 is 2. When I plug that in, I got y equals 2. How do you feel about that one? I'll plug in one more for you. I'll plug in negative 1. I'll plug in negative 1. Let's take a look at negative 1 real fast. Y equals x squared plus 2x minus 1. Y equals negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 1. And where am I getting this negative 1 for? This is the number I'm plugging in. Remember, squared first. Y equals negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 minus 1. Y equals negative 2. Over here it's negative 2. Plug in the rest. Pause it, plug in the rest, see if you get the same thing. Do not cheat, plug in the rest. I'm going to write some answers down. 0 will be negative 1. This will be 2 and negative 1. Take a look if you got the same thing as I got after you're done plugging it in. Good. And remember what we talked about last time. Look at that. They're symmetric. So take a look. This will match here. Here would match here. Here would match here. Because it's symmetrical. Do not cheat and just plug in 3 numbers and then rewrite them. Plug in all numbers and check if it's symmetrical. If it's symmetrical, you did it right. If it's not symmetrical, you did it wrong. Alright, very good. How do I graph this now? How do I graph this now? Take a look. And pull out a graph for you to see. I don't like that one. Plug in your points and just graph it. Start it. 1, 2. 0, negative 1. Negative 1, negative 2. Negative 2, negative 1. And negative 3, 2. Look at that real fast. Does that make a parabola? Is it going up like you expected? It does. So graph your parabola. Curve. Go up. If I change it to an inequality, can you still graph it? You should be, right? Same idea. Oh man, it's been 10 minutes already, and we only have time to do one problem. You want to try to do one more? Let's do one more really quickly. Alright, how do you feel? Let's do one going downward. Is that okay? Graph. You want to pick your numbers or you want me to? Give me a number. Good. Y equals. Give me another number. Good. Negative 2x squared. Good. Give me another one. Plus 4x. Good. Plus 1. Okay, good job, guys. Good job. I like your participation. So take a look. First thing first. Let's find A, B, and C, because when we use the formula, we need to know what A, B, and C is. So let's write this down. A, B, C. Try it on your own. Write it down and check if you got it right with me. What do you think A is? What do you think B is? What do you think C is? Did you get that? Good job. Alright, now we're going to use the formula. Remind me of the formula again. H equals negative B over 2A. Perfect. Just plug it in. H equals negative 2, which is, negative B. B is 4, so negative 4 over 2 times A. A is negative 2. This is going to be negative 4 over negative 4, which is 1. Perfect. After I find, this is my first part of my vertex. So my vertex is 1 comma something. I don't know yet. How do I find that K? I have to plug it in later, but I'm going to plug in the T table. Let's take a look at the T table. We have my X, my Y. What numbers do I plug in? I start with the vertex at 1. I pick numbers around there. 0, negative 1, 2, 3. I'll plug it in. But before I start plugging in, I better know what this looks like, because if I graph it and it goes, wait, that doesn't look right, I can fix my mistakes. Look at this. Is this going up or down? This should be going down. Why? Because look at A. A is negative. It's going down. Is this probably going to be skinny or fat? It should be a little bit skinnier than normal because the number is bigger, 2. And normally we work with 1. So now you know that you're going to expect a parabola going down a little skinnier. Sound good? It's called a vertical stretch. Let's plug in some numbers. I think you're ready to plug in your own. Can you plug in numbers on your own and see if they match mine? If they don't, come ask questions. Let's look at, it looks like 0 is 1. 1 is negative 2. Negative 2, 4, which is 2, 3. This should be 1 again. And this should be 3, 6. I think it's 6. Alright, let me try that and do it in my head real fast. Negative 1 squared is positive 1, negative 2. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Plus 1 is negative 4. What? Negative 1. Oh, sorry. That should be negative 1, negative 2, 3, 6, 5, negative 5. Let me check again in my head. Negative 1 squared is positive negative 2, negative 4, negative. I think that's right. Alright, let's graph this. Take a look at what this looks like. Check if the numbers are correct. I believe so. Graph this. Negative 1, negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here. 0, 1. 1, 3. 2, 1. And 3, negative 5. Take a look. Is it going down? Is it skinnier than normal? Good. Graph your parabola. And that's it. You're done. Alright. We're going to practice some more in class. Hopefully you feel a little bit more comfortable. And that's it, guys. Have a good day. And write your summary and your questions. See you tomorrow.